Namaste. On the very outset of 15th August, I would like to wish all my brothers and sisters a very happy Independence Day. And today, let us take a moment to pay our tributes to all those freedom fighters, to all those brave daughters and sons of Bharat Mata who has given their blood, sweat and tears for the freedom of our nation. So, today I thought about talking about my favorite freedom fighter, who is none other than the great Veer Savarkar. First of all, when I think about Veer Savarkar, Atal Bihari ji's speech about Savarkar comes to my mind. He said, Savarkar mane tez, Savarkar mane tyag, Savarkar mane tattva, Savarkar mane tark, Savarkar mane tarunya, Savarkar mane तीर, Savarkar mane talwar, Savarkar mane tilmilahat. And the speech goes on and on. It is one of the best speeches I have ever listened to. So, who is the real Savarkar? We know him because he is an RSS ideology icon, but apart from that, what else do we know about him? So, he was born in 28th May of 1883 in Nashik district of Bombay, now Maharashtra. So, in 1883, he was born after 26 years after the War of Independence which happened in India against the British. He was born in Nashik district. His father's name was Damodar Savarkar and his mother's name was Yashoda Savarkar. Both of them passed away while Savarkar was in his early stages of life. Then his brothers were the one who looked after him. He had an elder brother called Ganesh Savarkar and a younger brother called Narayan Savarkar, who is famous for his, Narayan Savarkar was a member of the Indian National Congress back then. So he was there in many Ahimsa speeches and all. He was one of the pioneers in doing that. He has a sister too named Meena Bhai. He was married to Yamuna Bhai, who had a very important role in his life because Yamuna Bhai was an excellent singer. And Savarkar was an excellent writer too, so he used to write and she used to sing many patriotic songs, and she used to motivate him to work further for the country. Then Savarkar in his childhood, made an organization called Mitra Mela. In childhood as in teenage. He made an organization called Mitra Mela, which was a revolutionary group. He then renamed it to Abhinav Bharat. After getting many members, about 100, 200 members of Maharashtra, he named it to Abhinav Bharat. Then he went to a college in Pune and got his bachelor's in arts. But later it was taken back by the British because he participated in many international freedom movements. So the BA was taken back by the British. Later, with the recommendation of Lokmanya Tilak, he went to London to study law, to become a barrister. He went to Gray's Inn, and there was a society called India House where all these Indian students used to go. And there was a revolutionary group, so Savarkar used to give speeches there, used to write in India House and many other things. So he was caught in 13th March of 1910 for giving a speech against the King of England. He gave a speech, he wrote something about the King of England, which was agitating a war. That is why he was taken into Cella jail. In 1910, when he was taken via a ship. And during the ship, this is a very important part of his life. To be honest, one of my favorite parts too, because while traveling in that ship, there were many officers who used to look after him, okay? So, on the behalf, he said that he wanted to use the washroom. He went to the toilet, he closed the door. Then there was a small peephole. He opened this peephole and jumped through it. So, it is called the epic chalang. So, epic jump. Then in that cold water, he swam very fast and he ran. It was a French territory he ran into. And so there, freedom fighters would be waiting for him. His Indian friends would be waiting for him in a cab, and they'll secretly go to a house in Paris. That was originally the plan. But unfortunately, His friends couldn't reach there because a cab was 2 or 3 minutes late. So he was caught by the French policeman. Then there was like a discussion on who should take Savarkar, of the French government or the British government. So there were many, discussions regarding that. But yeah, he was not, saved by the Indian freedom fighters because he was late. I mean, the friends were late. Then what happened in 4th July of 1911? He was taken to the most cruel, to the most atrocious jail and the most inhuman place the world has ever witnessed. Cellular Jail or Kala Pani of Andaman and Nicobars. He was given an imprisonment of 50 years. That is 2 life imprisonments. See, you have to remember that during 1880s and all, the average lifespan of one Indian was 25.4 years or something around that. Not more than 30 years, okay? So at that time, Savarkar was about 20, 25, 26, that age group. And then, like, giving him 50 years of imprisonment, he'll pass away, he'll die in the jail, no? So that is why this 50 years was very cruel. None of our freedom fighters got it. That too just for giving a speech and writing works against the king. So he was sent into Kalapani. He didn't know that his brother Ganesh Savarkar was there inside the jail because Savarkar was kept in an isolated cell. Now when you read the book about Savarkar, about his own biographies and many other books, it's been stated that the cell, even if you go today to the cellular jail, you will see that the cell is an extremely congested one. It just had this opening where the bars are kept and then a plate and a glass. Not supposed to talk to anyone because people know that he is an influential person and he might influence others. Then the kind of attire they wear, even though we saw the movie Kalapani, they were wearing cotton clothes, right? No, actually they were given sack. You know the sack which we use for carrying rice? That sack was worn as a clothing. They had to work like an ox, and it was just nothing less than cruel. You know the parts, right, where the cruel Mirza Khan and Barry, he's not Lord Barry to me, he's just Barry. Mirza Khan and Barry did many unfair means to agitate and divide the prisoners. They used to pull out the Janu of Brahmins. They used to create many ruckus, mainly towards Hindus, because the jail prisoners were either Muslims, Parsis or Christians, Britishers. So they used to do this proselytization, which was existent at that time too. So Savarkar was completely against this. That is when Hindutva philosophy came into his mind. When he saw this kind of cruel proselytization happening, that is when Hindutva originally originated. Now, why was he actually sent to the jail? There is one point, he also killed the collector called Jackson, who was apparently the collector of his own district, Nashik district of Bombay. Now, what are the so-called controversies around him? First one is that the fact that Veer Savarkar wrote mercy petitions. See, if you do not like him for the one reason, that is he wrote mercy petitions, you have no right to like Pandit Ji either, because he also wrote few. Many communist leaders of that time also wrote it. So just because he wrote mercy petitions does not mean that he was a coward, does not mean that he was against India, does not mean that he was in favor of British. Please do not think so. Because, at that time, these so-called media people, journalists were there back then too. So at first, they described to Savarkar as a martyr, as a brave son of Bharat Mata. And then, when he came out of jail, like in 1924, in 1921, he came out of jail. He came out of jail for after 13 years. He was taken to Ratnagiri, prison in Ratnagiri, because his condition was so worsened that when, due to his petitions, and also because that Netaji and many other leaders outside the prison protested for the release of Savarkar. Many people protested for him because his condition was very worsened due to the bad conditions of the jail. You know how bad it is. Diseases can spread through those, unclean, untidy food. The conditions there where people are just congested, but Savarkar was in an isolated cell. The kind of work they had to do, all of them together, made him very sick. So people protested that he should be taken to an Indian jail and not to be kept under the supervision of Barry and Mirza Khan. Then what happened? He was taken to Ratnagiri prison. And also, there is one more point I would like to add, that Savarkar, there is no one like him, because in the walls of the prison, he wrote with his nails and also with some leaves which had, like thorny leaves. He used to write his poems. More than 10,000 lines were written with his nails and with some thorny leaves. And some of them, he had to memorize it, otherwise he'll forget it. So he used to teach some other prisoners so that when they come out of jail, all these lines will be written. One of my favorite poems and compositions by Veer Savarkar is Jayostute. It is there, sang by Lata Mangeshkar ji. It is so beautiful. Jayostute is one of the best poems. So yeah, that's about his life in jail, even though it cannot be described within a few lines. So about the mercy petitions, so journalists of that time also accused him for writing mercy petitions. He replied, "From Punjab to Pondicherry and Sindh to Bengal, scores of all revolutionaries set fire to their homes so that their nation could free itself and entered into a spirited battle with the adversary in what we virtually the valley of death. When they collapsed onto the battlefield, overpowered and bearing massive wounds, and underwent incredible torture for years, they decided to accept the enemy's condition and they temporarily withdraw from battle and sought freedom so that they could live to fight another day for their motherland," he emphasized. So, writing these petitions was a planned move because such a revolutionary couldn't contribute anything if he was kept in a jail. So he had to come out somehow and contribute to the nation. That was the reason, and not because he was scared, not because he was an anti-national, not because he was a coward. Please do not think so. He even cited the example of Shivaji Maharaj, who was held hostage in Agra, and he even wrote petitions to Aurangzeb. He even pleaded his hands in front of Afzal Khan. With the same hands, he caught a tiger. So, no, just because he wrote mercy petitions, do not hate Sri Savarkar, because he is nothing less than a brave revolutionary. Next controversy is regarding, people create a link between Godse, Savarkar and Gandhi. So the reason is because both Savarkar and Godse were the members of Hindu Mahasabha, not RSS, Hindu Mahasabha. RSS is not into the play right now. It's the Hindu Mahasabha. But, so after assassination, Godse himself gave him up to the police. Then during the court session, and after that, the court declared Savarkar as an innocent person who was not involved in the assassination of M.K. Gandhi. So, and in many parts, Gandhiji also has mentioned Veer Savarkar and his brother Ganesh Savarkar as the brave sons of Bharat Mata. So Gandhiji was not against Savarkar, to be honest. So that's it about the great freedom fighter Savarkar. Not just Savarkar, there are many leaders who must be given recognition, not just two people who are given in the NCERT textbooks. No, there are people more than that. Let there be Bhagat Singh, Azad, Lokmanya Tilak, or many leaders like that, okay? Not just two people who brought us freedom, no. At the end, I would like to wish all my brothers and sisters a very happy Independence Day. And I would like to end my words by this beautiful message which our Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji has given, that we did not get a chance to martyr for the nation, but we definitely have a chance to live for the nation. Thank you, and Bharat Mata ki Jai.